You're listening to an AINC original podcast. We believe you don't have to do life without a compass. Let us be your guide on this amazing journey. Welcome to Navigating Life with Vision Loss.
Hello, you are listening to Navigating Life with Vision Loss, and I am your host, Kim Wardlow. Thank you for joining us. We're in the month of fashion, beauty, style, all those kinds of things. Just a couple reminders. I wanted to just let you know that we will be changing our organization's name from Audio Information Network of Colorado, which is a mouthful, to AfterSight. Starting at the first of the year, we'll give that full rollout. We're still making some final decisions on our logo and tagline, but that will be rolling out. But I can tell you that it will be AfterSight, which, as many of you know, is also the name of our flagship podcast that Penn Street hosts. So there was some discussion about keeping the name, changing the name. We don't want any issues with people trying to find the podcast or find the organization if you're doing searches. So we made the decision to change the name of that podcast, and we are inviting all of you to send your ideas of what you might want to suggest for the name of what is currently the AfterSight podcast. And you can send those to Jonathan, our podcast and program producer here, and his email address is jonathan@aincolorado.org. So we welcome those suggestions, and we'll be deciding on a new name for the podcast by January, obviously, as well. And then the last reminder is just for Colorado Gives Day. I know it may seem early to be talking about Colorado Gives Day, which is the first Tuesday in December, but you can actually start scheduling so you don't have to think about or remember which Tuesday it is in December. You can actually start scheduling your donations on the coloradogives.org website as of November 1st. So, of course, we always appreciate your donations and support of our programming, whether it's our original podcasts or our traditional audio editions. And some of the other cool things that we're doing now with virtual peer support and audio book clubs and White Cane Project and things. So we appreciate you supporting us on Colorado Gives Day. So today it was suggested to me because I tend to go to thrift stores and consignment shops and things that I talk about some tips and what I do to try to stay in budget. And I thought, well, I could do that. And I can give, some ideas of, obviously, for individuals with vision loss if you're needing some assistance while you're there. But then I also have Jonathan Price, our own Jonathan Price, with me today, because I think looking at clothing can be very, not always, but can be very different, like for men and women.
Very.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about that today, and some things especially if you're trying to stay within a budget, generally for your day-to-day clothes, work clothes, that kind of thing. So I guess we'll dive right in. I can let you know some of the things that I've started doing. Several years ago, I started to go to what they called themselves a thrift boutique. So it was kind of thrift store, ARC, Goodwill kind of prices, but more like, a boutique clothing store in terms of they really went through everything and just kept the best items, and they could help you if you needed help. And they even did some you could schedule a consulting time with them to go in and they'd pull clothes for you. It was the best thing.
What?
Unfortunately, they closed during COVID and did not reopen. But if you And if you find one, please let me know. If you find one anywhere in the metro area,
is that kind of like Plato's Closet?
Yes, I think so. It's Plato's Closet for kids.
No, I mean Plato's Closet was. I mean, you can men's, women's clothes, just like consignment store.
So kind of, except for consignment stores tend to be slightly higher price, not as high as just going in, even to Kohl's or wherever, but a clothing store, but they're a little bit more expensive than what is referred to as a thrift store, which is kind of like the Goodwills and Arcs. And some nonprofits have thrift stores too, just depending where you are.
Interesting.
So if you can find a thrift boutique that has the low prices but has a little bit higher level of service, and I know what they would do. They actually at the time were right next door to the Arc in Broomfield, and they would things that they didn't keep but would still be good for Arc. They sent there, and they sent some things. They had different places they sent things, so they tried to not just throw away and put into landfill, as much as they could. But what they kept, was kind of higher end.
Wow.
So if you can find one of those, I would say that to me, it was just amazing. Now, I would also say it is possible to still overspend at a thrift store because they had such great stuff that there were times when I'm like, oh, I got all this, but it's like, okay, I still had to be careful of my budget.
But you end up getting so much more clothing.
You do.
So much more clothing.
Yes.
That's why, like, even around here, like we have, like you said, the Arc and Goodwill and all those things. But you have these specialty, and I think this is kind of what you're talking about, these specialty thrift stores that specialize in like either home goods or clothing or like whatever have you. Like there's some smaller thrift stores that are very interesting. I know sometimes I'll go to Ross to get clothes for my kids, especially like school clothes, because they go through them so quick.
Yeah.
And so that's really helpful. That's super interesting about I didn't even know that like a boutique style thrift store like existed. That's so crazy.
Yeah. And there aren't that many of them, mostly if you see that type of store, it tends to be a consignment store. So
right.
That can still be great. I mean, certainly if you're going to an Arc or, any larger kind of thrift store, you tend to have to do more digging and more going through clothes. And you may want to have somebody with you, just depending if you need some assistance in terms of being able to see something or describe something, or be my eyes, or some of those things. But certainly, you can feel things and kind of go through. I know, like at a consignment store, if you go to the same store, frequently or even seasonally, the people there get to know you, and so they can offer more assistance. You might be able to get that at an Arc if you see this, interact with the same person frequently or know somebody who's there. But just in terms of being able to get some assistance of like, well, do these things go together color-wise?
Oh, sure.
Or, those kinds of things. Sometimes that is helpful to be in a smaller store like a consignment store because you can get to know the staff and the owner sometimes as well.
Yeah.
I currently have a store I've been going to, a couple of them that I've been going to, and that's kind of nice. But if you can, and one of them I do have that relationship with, and the owner's mom is there, and she's just the sweetest person. And she will tell you, like one time I'm like, well, Jean, what do you think? And she's like, okay. You do want me to tell you my honest opinion, because she said, I will. Like, that's what I do. I'm like, no, I want you to tell me. She's like, no, that's not good on you. that's not, I forget if it was a color or stuff. And I appreciated that. She wasn't going to tell me, oh, yes, just to make a sale. So,
well, at least she did it before you bought it rather than getting it home and being like, oh, this was a horrible purchase.
Yeah. So, so I ask for help and opinions too. I mean, even though I can see what I'm trying on, sometimes I'm just not sure. Sometimes I'm not sure that's a sign that maybe that's not the best thing. And usually that turns out if I ask somebody to be the case.
Right. Yeah.
But just to confirm that. So the consignment stores are nice because because it's a little bit less costly, especially if you need, if you're in a wedding and like all the bridesmaids need to have the same dress, like that's a totally different thing. But if you just need a fancy outfit for a New Year's Eve party or, for an occasion, sometimes that's great to be able to go to a consignment place or a thrift store and find something that you're not going to wear very often to really save there.
I wanted to point out one tip that if you're going to like an ARC or Goodwill or any place that has like the colored tags, to maybe take somebody with you because they do have discounted days. So like maybe they have a 50% off on yellow, pink, and white tags or, something like that. It may behoove you to have somebody go with you just to make sure that you're grabbing an item that might have that tag, or if just as a precaution, so that you're, I don't want to think that people are going to take advantage of you, but just in case, advocate for yourself. And plus, it's always fun to go shopping with other people. But.
Yeah. So that's good. One thing I have noticed in consignment stores, it's a little bit better when you get the larger thrift store, but in consignment stores, they're usually the ones, I know there are some that do focus on kids. The ones I go to don't have kids' clothing, and they have very little, if any, men's. And mostly because, like kids, men tend to wear their clothes until they're worn out, so they never make it to a thrift store or consignment store. I know the one I go to has a very small section of men's things that she's found that are nice, but so those kinds of tips may not be as beneficial for men. So I don't know what you found is helpful.
It's goodness. Shopping is exactly like you said. Anytime I walk into a store, there's like this Walmart, Target, Kohl's, like you name it, any store. There's a giant department of women's clothing, from maternity to workout gear to just regular clothes, just you name it. And then men's, they have like this little bitty, like there's like the genie in a little bit of living space, and it's just unfair. But in all actuality, we just like to go in. We know we want a pair of jeans. We know what wash. We know what size, and we just grab it off. We very rarely need to try it on, and we just leave because that's it. And it's funny to shop as a guy because now that my style is kind of changing, and so I don't know what I want or where I want to get it, and so there's a lot of things that I'm trying out. But t-shirts are awesome, jeans are awesome, jackets, and really, we just need to make sure we have big pockets so that if we're married or have a girlfriend, we can carry all of our stuff in our pockets. That's the, cargo pants, cargo shorts, whatever. But like for guys, for me specifically, I really enjoy stores like Ross, ARC, Goodwill. They've got some really good stuff in there. You do kind of have to dig around because you don't, especially with men, there could be, honestly, I'm sorry, sweat stains, and that you can't get out. And that's kind of annoying. But yeah, I personally really like Ross and some of those. Oh, another place that's actually fun to go is, if you can, the Mile High Flea Market. And I've found a ton of great stuff, especially from local vendors. Plus you get turkey legs and all the other stuff, but it's good eats. It's a good Saturday afternoon or Sunday afternoon, whenever you go. But I don't remember. Are they still open on Wednesdays? I thought they were still open on Wednesdays, but maybe not. But I know they're open on the weekends. Yeah. But they're off of, if you guys are curious, they're off of Highway 85 and about 74th or 84th. So one of those exits in there. But shopping for men's clothes is and I don't know why they're so much more expensive too. Men's clothes tend to be a lot more expensive, probably because we don't shop nearly as often.
Because they know they're not going to get you to be a frequent buyer.
Right. Yeah. Like a regular t-shirt for us is probably $17 to $24. where I've seen women's t-shirts be like 6 to 15 ish, So I don't know. It's unfair. I'm very angry.
Well, I think that's something to consider. And obviously, if you've been buying your clothes for decades, you probably already have incorporated some of these things. But if you're just kind of starting to navigate and try to figure out, okay, this is my budget, and what can I do, and I think also to look at things. There's things like t-shirts and everyday, if you're doing yard work and things like that, things you're not going to spend a lot of money on, even if you need to replace it. You're just not going to do that. And I saw a review. It was like the New York Times Wirecutter. They had a review of the best white T-shirts, and it kind of went everything from like a Walmart, I think, clear up to something hugely expensive. And it's like, okay, well, if it's really important to you that it fits a certain way and it feels a certain way, but it was hugely expensive, the highest priced one, which, they acknowledged they were giving this whole range. And I thought, I would never spend that much.
No.
But you might want to spend more on something special, or if it's hard, if you have something that's hard to fit. So like me personally, I'm just under 5'9", and most of that is my legs. So I have really long legs, and it's really hard for me to find. I found a Western wear place that does have long jeans.
Oh, nice.
So I found that. But sometimes that's harder to find in store. Now, if you're shopping online, that can be a little bit easier. But then it's like, okay, well, are the sizes true? Like sometimes then I'll try to go to a store that has that brand, and even if they don't have the long, I'll just try it on to see what size do I need, and then I order it online and the long length. But I will spend full price, especially for like work things I'm going to wear to work, nicer pants and trousers, because I need that longer length. And it's worth it to me, and I'm not going to wear them out right away. It's not like a kid. So there might be something that you find hard. It could be shoes. It could be, whatever, that you're like, this is hard for me, and it's worth it to me to spend the extra. Or there might be a luxury item that you just really want too. And
I'm glad you brought that up specifically. So if you buy those luxury items that that they need to fit a particular way, like for me, I'm very barrel chested. I've got a big chest, really broad shoulders, and like it's hard for me to find like long sleeve shirts that go all the way to my wrist, but then don't choke me when I try to button my collar. And so sometimes I'll have my shirts tailored and you can get a tailoring for like $20 to do a shirt. It's not horribly expensive, but if there's like a shirt that you need for, if you're at a wedding or you're doing a speaking engagement or you're at a business event that you need to look a certain way, it would behoove you to try to find somebody who can tailor that stuff. There's tailors all over the place, and just so find one that's good for you, that they have pretty good prices. Because a well-tailored outfit feels and looks so much better. It adds a lot to your confidence. It adds a lot to your just wardrobe in general. It makes you look put together and ready to rock and roll whenever anything happens.
Well, and that can be true too if you need, whether it's pants or skirt, if you need something lengthened or shortened, just being able to find somebody who can do that for you.
Oh, there's another place. Costco is actually a good place to get some stuff. I don't know. I've gotten a lot of like jackets or shirts, or I've gotten a few pairs of pants there that I actually really like. They fit really well. And so I've enjoyed, Costco. It's okay price wise, but
yeah, and it might be true in Sam's as well. I don't have a Sam's card, so I'm not sure. But Costco, that's definitely true.
Yep.
And then sometimes, just like you might be able to find, a fancy dress, formal dress, or formal outfit of some sort for a special occasion, you might be able to find things like a cashmere sweater. I knit, so I'm kind of into the different fibers. And so if you want a cashmere, and for some people having a cashmere sweater is just like, that would be so great.
Like a warm hug.
they're expensive.
Yes.
And even the ones that are considered, bargain by places like Wirecutter that rank them, they're still pretty expensive. But I actually have found at consignment places and sometimes even thrift places, cashmere sweaters. You have to look because sometimes they've gotten to that shop because they've shrunk. And so they weren't washed properly. And so the size on the label is not their actual size. So you do have to watch that. But I've gotten some great deals on things like, cashmere or silk or, some fibers that are kind of higher end and nice and wonderful to have. So sometimes you can find those little gems as well. Or you may decide if there's a particular item that you want that is higher priced, but it fits well and it's something that you just want and it's going to be a piece that you can get a lot of use out of. It may be worth it to do that. For you. And, even things like winter coats or you can find those at thrift, but if you are looking for a specific thing, it may be worth it, especially if you might find it on sale in a regular store or online. So I think it's just kind of doing that. So
what is the most interesting or exciting thing that you have found when shopping?
Oh, let me see. Besides cashmere, that's been pretty exciting.
Cashmere is pretty awesome.
It's pretty awesome. I did find one time, and I can't remember. It's been several years ago now, so I can't remember exactly what it cost me. But it was just a little bag, a little purse.
Okay.
That you'd use, maybe like if you were going out for dinner or something. It's not big. It can't hold all your stuff in it, but it was Chico's and it was all beaded, and it had like this. I actually used it when we did our concert this year.
Oh, cool! Yeah.
So it had like coral and fish, but it was all beaded and interesting, and
cool.
And I don't know how much it cost, like regularly, but I've gotten some. That was pretty exciting. So I've gotten a couple of bags. I got a vintage Coach bag at a.
Oh wow!
I was visiting cousins down in Austin, and I went to this. I don't know, kind of. I guess I don't know what you call them, but they had different booths, and different people had different things in their. In their booths, and some of them were crafts, and some of them, were different
kind of like
items.
A craft fair, or
it was, but it was permanent. Like it was like a hall, like
cool.
Like I know they have one in Lafayette where it's just people can rent out, and you see them like with antiques where the whole thing is antique. So we got idea, but it was all different items, and some things were like Austin specific and things. And I did find a really great Coach purse there that was
nice,
inexpensive. So yeah, sometimes you just run into those kinds of things. I know there's also some things, they may not be as inexpensive, but if you're wanting to just, especially if you don't like to shop that much, you want to just be able to tell somebody, these are the colors I like and this is, the type of style and things I want. I know there are places, like I believe Penn uses one, I think it's called Stitch Fix.
Yes, so Stitch Fix. Yeah.
There are places that they will curate basically your wardrobe based on what you tell them. And even Amazon
does it. Does
Amazon do it too?
Yeah, you can actually, and I did it for a little while, but they were really, really expensive. So only if you have the budget, but they'll send you a box every month of different things that you like. So you pick if you like plaid or stripes or solids or whatever you want. And they'll send you a box based on, pants, shoes, shirts, jacket, like whatever, you have curated in your box. And a lot of these companies like Stitch Fix, Amazon, there's quite a few more personal shoppers or I guess assistant shoppers. But yeah, they're a lot of fun. You can get some really fun ideas, and it's actually really good for me to get ideas and then, I really like that, and then send it back and then go find it somewhere cheaper. Just because, like, that doesn't, I'm not going to spend $100 for a button-down shirt that I'm going to wear 2 or 3 times. Like,
right. Yeah, depending on what it is. So,
right.
yeah. So there are some things that could help and take out the need for assistance in a store, potentially, just to tell somebody what you want and have it sent to you. But that is, as you said, Jonathan, that has more of a cost to it. So not necessarily shopping on a budget, but you may get exactly what you want and the colors, and you don't spend the time shopping.
Right. And I've been one to, I'm a shop for the value and maybe not necessarily the price, where sometimes the quality of the fabric and the quality of the make, like you were talking about buying clothes for just working in the yard that you're going to have to replace, that's fine. But if I'm going to buy a dress shirt or I'm going to buy a nice t-shirt, I want to make sure it's good quality, because if I'm going to wear it a lot, I don't want to replace it a lot. So there's kind of like this give and take. And, $24 to $30 for a t-shirt is a lot of money, but if you wear that t-shirt a lot, like I have a couple t-shirts that I've had for 5 or 10 years that still look almost brand new, but I paid a pretty penny for them, but I also take care of them. And, just being able to take care of your stuff, not only that, but making sure you get a good value for what you're buying can also, I guess, in a long run, save you some money instead of having to go to the store every 2 or 3 weeks for a new shirt.
Right. And I think especially for basic items that you're going to use over and over, things that aren't the trendy items that will go out of style, but things that are basic, it may be worth spending a little bit more. And as you said, care is huge. You don't want to shrink your cashmere sweater.
No.
And that can be true even, like you said, for T-shirts and things.
Yep.
If you're careful with how you wash them and take care of them, then your clothes will last longer. But just looking at, are you really fashion conscious? Would you really like to be on trend? Are you watching those fashion trends and what's trendy? Then looking at, well, how can you if you don't have a high budget or unlimited budget, to be able to purchase those trendy things, ways you can do that maybe at a less expensive price point is something in that trendy area, but it's a Target or Marshall's or something like that.
Right.
So being able to not give up your fun with fashion. Other people could care less, and they have basic things. I know one of our friends from Content Depot, Renee, is so great. She's so sweet, and she's like, "Oh, I just," and she's sighted, but she's like, I don't know about color. She always just wears black and white.
Oh,
and so when it makes it really easy when she shops, she's getting either black or white, and then she mixes and matches. So sometimes, whether it's black and white or gray, or if you have a favorite color, and so you incorporate that. I've had people say to me like, "Oh, you have everything matches your earrings and your shirt."
Yes.
And, well, that's because it's usually something that's like turquoise or
blues or greens.
or greens, because those are my favorite colors. So
That's
if you buy within that, then you have lots of things that can mix and match. So, so that can be really helpful too. And it can be helpful if you don't want to have to worry about, well, is this going to, when I'm in my closet. Yes, you can label things. Certainly, we've talked about different ways to label your clothing, whether it's with a pen friend label or just one pin, safety pin is this color and two is this color.
Yes.
I mean, there's lots of ways, high-end and low-end ways to do, or high-tech, low-tech and high-tech ways to do that. So obviously you can be marking things so that you know what is what. in your closet, whatever works best for you. But if you have a lot of things that go together, that also makes it really easy.
Yes, it does.
Capsule wardrobes have been really popular lately, which is kind of that concept. At least I've seen that like in women's publications where it's like, okay, so you have, 2 pairs of pants and jeans and the skirt and, certain tops and a jacket, and they all mix and match together. So no matter what, depending what it is you want to wear, any of those items will go with any of the other items.
Right. Yes.
And so they call that a capsule. And so that can be really helpful too. And I think then that kind of comes down to your personality. Are you good with that kind of capsule concept, or just having a couple, 3 different colors and basic items, or are you really into the fashion and you need to have, you're wanting more?
And I know this is more of a nuanced thing, but you were talking about your favorite colors, and it's important that if you can take somebody with you, to just take a Saturday afternoon and say, hey, what colors look really good on me? Because for me, I look a lot better in pastels because my skin tone is very red, and like I'm very Northern European, and much like you are. So pastels, I do horribly with really bright, bold colors. I can't do it. And so if you can go with somebody to say, hey, yeah, that looks good on you. These colors match really well. These look good with your skin tone. That can be a lot of fun, and it just makes you feel good about what you bought and then feel good about yourself.
Yes. And if you haven't been able to bring somebody with you, and there might be somebody in the store that would tell you if it looks good or not on you. And again, it's everything from, hey, bestie friend, will you tell me if this looks good on me, to doing some kind of color, assessment. They have those. They have people that do those, that you can pay for, to do color assessments, or I'm sure there's probably online. I don't know how accessible those would be, but there's lots of different ways to do that.
It also might be a good idea to take a friend with you, because sometimes you may be buying what you think is a blue shirt and it's not. So if you're having some of if you're not completely blind, but you do have some color blindness, or you have some low vision that colors don't really, you're not quite sure of if they are that color, it might be a good idea to take a friend with you. Just for some of that stuff.
So these are some of our thoughts and tips that we have used ourselves. I'm hoping that maybe you found some of these ideas helpful and useful. Again, depending how much you've been out there in the stores and purchasing things, or online and purchasing things as well. That can be super easy. You don't have to worry about transportation, all those things. If you have certain brands you like, and they fit well, then that can work really well, where you don't have to even take that time to go out to the stores too. So Jonathan, do you have anything else? Any other final tips or ideas from a guy's perspective?
I don't. I love this sweater weather. I love the temperature changes. So make sure that it's a good idea to keep layering, because we have these mornings where it's 35 this morning, and then it's going to be 75, 80 degrees this afternoon. So that's a pretty big temperature swing when you leave for work versus when you get home. So it's probably a good idea to make sure you're layering up, just as it could. I mean, if you're listening to this outside of Colorado, we're notorious for having these 50-degree swings in a day. And so it gets kind of confusing to layer up your wardrobe. So that's why we have perfected the quote-unquote leg boots and leggings and sweater, and then a jacket. And then we mix and match for everything. So it's kind of funny.
Right.
But that would be it.
And that can kind of expand your wardrobe too. If you have items that are layered, well, then when it's warmer, you just don't wear the outer layers, the heavier layers. So you might be able to use that T-shirt or long-sleeved shirt that you're layering, when it's a little bit warmer, by itself. So that, looking as you're purchasing things, well, what do I have, and what if I need warmer things for the cooler times of the year? So warmer clothes, like what things can layer with clothes I already have. That's really helpful as well. So thank you.
Also, one final thing for us as a show, we want to get your tips and tricks. And so if you have fashion tips, go ahead and email them to me, Jonathan at aincolorado.org. Or if you have any suggestions for future shows, I know next month we're doing cooking, and I don't remember what we're doing for December. Do you remember?
We might be doing holidays. At least I know I think we discussed that.
So
things around the holidays.
We're building out all those shows. So one thing that would help us a lot is if you comment on our shows, you share them with as many people as possible, and post them to social media. We really want to get these words out to as many people as we can. If you have friends or family who are low vision, you just happen to stumble across our podcast, thank you very, very much. So please share all this show. I've had a fun time chatting with you. It's been fun. It's been good.
It has been fun. And if you have any suggestions for guests or for future shows, whatever the topic may be, please let us know that.
Yes.
Because Jonathan can reach out to them, and we can look at getting guests that you're interested in. So that's always helpful to us too. So thank you for listening. I think we have one more show for October on kind of the style, fashion, beauty topic, and then we'll be moving into November and cooking. So that will be exciting. Remember, our name change will be coming up at the first of the year to Aftersight, and if you have suggestions for the Aftersight podcast, let us know that. And we appreciate any support you can give us through Colorado Gives Day, and the scheduling for those donations starts November 1st. Thanks so much.